I mean, called it. Wait a minute, all right. We'll have a roll call first.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman. Elizabeth Hausauer,
Here.
Tyra Lucas,
Present.
Danielle Massey,
Here.
Michelle Hazen, Nicole Nesberg,
Here.
Michael Hill,
Here.
Bill Warner,
Here,
Elizabeth Hawk, Jay Reeves, Mr. Vice Chairman, you have a quorum.
thank you, Mr.
Michelle's here now.
Hi, I'm Liz
Elizabeth
Hawk is here
Hawk.
now too. I was having Zoom difficulties, sorry.
Are you sure it's not made by Disney? Because they said not the release the bar.
I'm in a meeting, please. Give me a break.
Thank you, Mr. Simmons. Okay, moving right along. I need a motion to adopt the agenda. I hope you have received it.
A motion to adopt the agenda.
Second.
Okay. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Sounds good. All
So we
right.
have to do let's do that via roll call.
Okay, roll call it is. Roll call it is.
Michelle Hazen,
Michelle,
Michelle.
you're muted. You need to unmute. There you go.
Can you hear me?
yes.
Aye.
Nicole Nesberg,
Aye.
Danielle Massey,
Aye.
Tyra Lucas,
Aye.
Elizabeth Hausauer,
Aye.
Michael Hill,
Hey, I'm
Elizabeth
gonna
Hawk.
let you hear what's
Aye.
going on.
motion passes 7-0.
Thank you, Mr. Simmons. See, so we have adopted the agenda. We need the announcement. Oh, no. Well, is there anyone online who has an item to bring up that is not on the agenda?
I do, actually.
Oh,
This is Liz speaking. And maybe staff has already looked into this, Jason, but the house at 609 Northeast 6th Street, which is like 2 down from me on my street, construction stopped on that house last fall. The house is wide open. It's got its Tyvek on it, but that's basically it. There's no roof, there's no siding, windows are in. And there's no permit in the permit box and there's no plans in the permit box anymore. Does anybody know what's going on with that house? And what do we do at this point since nothing's happened since the fall?
I'm not, I'd have to look it up, but I'm not immediately aware of what's the situation there. I'd have to research that at this point,
Okay,
but I may not be the one doing the researching. I'm gonna read the announcement.
yes, proceed, please.
Okay, Section 30-3.5 of the Land Development Code establishes the Historic Preservation Board, including its composition and duties and authority. The Historic Preservation Board procedures are set forth in Section 30-4.28G of the Land Development Code. Appeals of Historic Preservation Board decisions are to the City Commission and must be filed within 14 days from the date the decision by the Historic Preservation Board is reduced to writing and served by certified or registered mail. The appeal procedure is specified in section 30-4.28G of the Land Development Code.
Thank you, Mr. Simmons. I'm actually trying to effect a communications connection to Chairman Reeves here with my phone, and we'll see. All right, old business, in case there is no old business, and under new business.
Sorry, we have the minutes. The minutes are next.
What?
Approval of the minutes.
Oh, yeah, okay. I need a motion to approve the minutes as distributed.
I'll make the motion to approve the
I'll
minutes as
second.
distributed.
Second? Someone second, please.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
And we have to
Aye.
do a roll call vote again.
Okay. All right.
Just
No,
roll call vote for this item.
okay, proceed.
Kyra Lucas,
Aye.
Danielle Massey,
Aye.
Michelle Hazen,
Okay,
Michelle Hazen.
Aye.
Nicole Nesberg,
Aye.
Elizabeth Hawk,
Aye.
Michael Hill,
Aye.
Elizabeth Hausauer,
Aye.
Bill Warner.
aye,
Motion passes.
okay. Hang on a second, isn't there a provision for dial-up into the meeting?
Yes, there's a phone number on every Zoom invitation that people can call into.
Okay, I'm wondering if Chairman Reeves can dial into the meeting.
There's also a panelist that says public comment line. So maybe DSD staff can let us know if that's an option.
You want to check that out, Jay?
I can't hear what they're saying.
Oh, there is an opportunity at the invitation to dial in.
At the bottom of the Zoom invite, it says or telephone, and then it has numbers listed.
Yeah, go to the or telephone.
And then you have to put in the web ID and then the participant ID.
Okay. All right, Chairman Reeves is going to try to attend by telephone. All right, in the meantime, under old business, we have item HP 20000015.
There is no items listed under old business.
I'm sorry, under new business.
Yes. All right. All right, petition HP-20-0015, E. Scott Robinson and Robin Frankie Robinson, Renovation and Custom Homes Incorporated, agents for Kathleen A. Davis, certificate of appropriateness to construct an addition on a single-family house located at 418 Northwest 4th Avenue. The building is contributing structure to the Pleasant Street Historic District. So let's staff. Pull up the presentation.
All right, it cut me out and brought me back in. Is it my turn? Oh,
You're looking good for a minute. There we go.
all right, here we
All
go.
right, can you see the presentation? Is that the wrong
Yep.
one? Wrong one.
Mhm.
Let's see, stop sharing.
Now the presentation went away.
Yes, I pulled up the wrong one, so.
Okay.
All right, can you see this presentation?
Perfect.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, board members, Jason Simmons, planner. This is petition HP-20-15, which as indicated is for the construction of an addition on the rear of a single-family contributing structure located at 418 Northwest 4th Avenue. So the applicant is proposing to remove the existing finished 75 square foot open rear porch and about 120 square foot conditioned rear extension that's in the back of the house. As also part of the project is the removal of the existing wood siding on the contributing structure. So the addition would be a one-story wood frame construction on brick piers, including a conditioned space with a butler's pantry, a bedroom, and a walk-in closet. There would also be an unconditioned space, which would include a covered screen porch. They would roof this area, the porch and the addition, with the 5E crimp metal roof to match the existing house. So all in all, we're talking about the project would add about 525 square feet of conditioned space to the rear of the house, in addition to 162 square feet of open rear porch. So you see in the orange there, the location of the property at 418 Northwest 4th Avenue, just east of the Santa Fe College. It's about 0.15 acres in land area. This is a front yard view of the house. It's a contributing structure. Now the date of construction varies. The County Property Appraiser's Office has it at about 1940. The Florida site file for the house has it at 1903. The house is a one-story wood-framed vernacular bungalow house on brick piers with wood lap siding and a 5E crimp metal roof. The house has a gable roof with a concrete block chimney, secondary hip roof structures, a rectangular plan type, and double hung 2/2 wood windows. According to the Florida Master Site File for the house contributes in scale and character to the Fifth Avenue neighborhood, which has been evolving since the mid-19th century. The house does appear on the 1922 Sanborn maps. And here is a sort of a rear yard aerial view. Does it have a window? The addition will go on the back in that. You see there's a large rear yard in the back, so there's plenty of room for the addition. On the left is the site plan for the property. You have a existing front porch and then the existing historic contributing structure. They're going to remove what's there now and, as shown on the site plan, put an addition and also the porch to the west of the addition. And in the back there is the existing garage. So on the right-hand side, you see the floor plan for the existing situation. In the back, you see the ceiling fan. That room is the extension onto the contributing structure. That extension is to be removed as part of this project. You also see the covered porch to the left or the west of that extension. This is the proposed remodel floor plan. You see they're going to replace the extension with the bedroom number 3. See the walk-in closet and also the covered porch to the west of it. The elevations are shown here. The right elevation is the east elevation. You see the roof line is lower than the roof line of the contributing structure. The left elevation is the west elevation. And you see the rear elevation on the back. See, they're going to be on brick piers like the existing contributing structure. Also, part of this project includes adding cement fiber lap siding to the existing contributing structure to be painted to match the existing paint color. Now, the existing windows and the coach light in the back are being saved for reinstallation into the new addition. The addition will be in the back of the existing house and not visible from the right of way, thus maintaining the general front appearance of the front of the house. Also part of this project is there's an existing 6-foot tall stockade style fence with dog-eared pickets in the back near where the addition is going. Part of that fence will be removed for the construction activity around the new addition. And then after that, it will be reinstalled, although in a different location. A segment of new fencing will also be installed on the east property line, adjacent to the new addition, and that will match the existing fencing on that side. So the addition is located at the rear of the house and will not be visible from the street. The windows that are proposed for the addition will be consistent with the windows on the contributing structure, since the windows that have to be removed for the addition to be added will be saved and installed in the addition. The proposed materials for the addition are to match the materials on the historic house. The addition will not result in a permanent loss of significant character-defining features of a historic resource, such as existing roof lines or dormers, and the addition will be reversible. However, the proposal does include removing the existing wood siding from the contributing structure. The guidelines indicate that horizontal wood siding is the predominant exterior finish of residential buildings in Gainesville's historic districts, and that wood siding is a character-defining feature of framed vernacular buildings. The guidelines further state that the application of non-historic surface coverings such as aluminum and vinyl siding, stucco, and permastone are considered the greatest threat to wood siding, and the application of these types of materials violates standards 2 and 3. Standard 2, talking about the historic character of a property shall be retained and preserved, and the removal of historic materials or the alteration of features and spaces that characterize a property shall be avoided. And standard 3, indicating that each property shall be recognized as a physical record of its time, place, and use. Changes that create a false sense of historical development, such as adding conjectural features or architectural elements from other buildings, shall not be undertaken. So, as a result, staff's recommendation for this petition is approval of HP 20-15 with the following conditions. That the wood lap siding on the existing house be retained, and that the siding for the addition shall also be wood lap siding to match the existing house in terms of size, direction, materials, and lap dimension. Provide information sheets for the proposed siding and roofing material, and notify staff of any changes during construction. I'll be happy to try to answer any questions that you have at this time.
Are there any questions of staff? And does anyone need to be unmuted? Wave your hand or something.
I'm unmuted.
Okay.
Hear me?
Proceed.
Jason Robinson, Robinson Renovations and Custom Homes, here on behalf of our customer. We presented a slideshow to staff. The only, and if he'll go back to his presentation, you'll see that the real question in this is the siding and being able to replace it with a lap siding that's a cementitious board. If you'll go back 2 slides, I believe, where it says that right here, the application of non-historic services covering such as aluminum and vinyl siding, stucco, and permastone is considered the greatest set of wood siding. So the issue that the owner has had is that we have done multiple wood rot repairs on the house over the last 7 years. We built a detached garage about 10 years ago. It has hardy lap siding. Her goal is to do this project and live in this house forever. She loves the neighborhood, loves the community, all that. Her issue is the required maintenance and cost of maintenance of wood siding over time. Also, in our presentation, if you look, the house directly to the east, directly to the west, and right across the street all have hardy lap siding. So her request is to do a hardy lap siding, paint it the same color, leave the wood faux shutters, the gable accents, leave all of the detail. Lap siding has been used for over 100 years in different profiles. 7 1/4 cementitious lap siding still has the same profile as your standard channel rustic or beveled cedar beveled siding, which was used for over 100 years. So it has the same appearance, but it's a product that will withhold the abuse of the Florida weather. This wood is proven to not be the best product because of the maintenance requirements. That's why it's not used anymore. So the real request in this would be for the ability to remove the existing siding and replace, keeping all of the like features and details, but do it in a cementitious fiber board so she doesn't have to worry about wood rot and continued cost of maintenance to keep up with the wood siding. Also, in regards to all of her neighbors have lap siding, and her detached garage that we built 10 years ago also has lap siding. So besides that, everything else is being kept in like with the characteristics of the house. So that's the request as far as for our customer. And I'd be more than happy to answer questions or discuss further, but that's all I have. I know we have provided a presentation. I don't know if staff has that.
Do we have that?
Okay.
I don't. Presentation, I don't know.
Is it in the folder?
So we sent a slideshow that has the neighboring properties and all that show where the lap siding is and how they were able to preserve the look of the house without by using cementitious fiber siding.
So do you have it on the applicant? Do you have your presentation? Because you do have the ability to share your screen. And
Let me see. I'm actually on my Surface. Hold on real quick. Let me search through it real quick.
Well, let me interject a few vocabulary items while you're doing your search. If I recall correctly, it's novelty siding that is what is in place and been
That's what's there.
typically used, not channel rustic or lap. Other than that, I think the tack you may want to take is to distinguish the new work from the original work.
What was that? Establish the new work from the original work?
Well, part of the guidelines is to distinguish new work from original work.
As far as you want it to be distinguished, or?
No, to distinguish new work from existing work.
Yeah, so we're talking about on the entire house, not on the addition.
You're talking about replacing all of the
All of
existing
the siding with lap siding. Yeah, we wouldn't want to match that. We want it to look like it was there from the beginning. It's the maintenance requirement of putting back novelty siding as opposed to a product that's going to last a whole lot longer.
It's a very different issue. Okay.
So
Okay,
I'm
that's
not trying to
clear.
do lap siding on the
No,
addition. Leave the novelty.
No, okay, proceed with your presentation.
I'm trying to find it. I don't know if I have it on this computer. Give me 1 second. I might have.
Yeah, we're also trying to pull it up as well.
I might have found it.
In the meantime, Jay, have you been able to tune in?
All right, so if I do have this screen share screen, I want to pull up. Okay, I got it. You guys ready? All right, here we go.
Good job.
Figured that out on the fly. I'm pretty proud of myself. Here, let me go back to the original. This is the presentation. This is the lot in question you guys already know about. This is the front of the house. You can see we have novelty siding here. So this is the house. This is the detached garage we did about 10 years ago. It has hardy board cementitious lap siding.
And did that go through the board?
Yes, of course. That was approved by the board. I can probably pull that stuff up too if you want.
No, I just was asking the question. That's fine. You don't know.
Yes, that was, so you can see from here as the detached garage and the front of the house painted the same color.
Sorry.
All right, so this is the detached garage we did about 10 years ago. One of the main views of the customer is we did this 10 years ago and it's held up and she has had no wood rot repairs or any maintenance issues with the exterior. This is her forever house. She wants to do this one time. She's going to retire here shortly, so she's wanting to do this project, get it done, and then be able to enjoy her home forever. So we look here, that is a really small picture. I think this was the one that had bad formatting. This is the house directly to the right, to the east. It has hardy lap siding. Let me see if, yeah, here's a better picture. You can see here has hardy lap siding. You can see in the picture, no real distinguishing differences. Then we go through.
I believe that's new construction to the right.
No, the one to the right was an existing home that had the siding replaced. This one to the left was a new construction. It was a house when they did the block grant that they started to remodel, ended up tearing down, is this one here to the left. So that is a new construction. This one here was an existing home that was remodeled at the same time as our current customer's house was. And that was in the late 90s, early 2000s, I guess the city of Gainesville went through and did I think there was a block grant and they remodeled both of them. There was like 4 or 5 on that block, I believe. So we'll go back. So this is the house to the left, to the west. That's another bad formatted picture. Let me see if I can't. This is the house across the street. I don't know what, I think I got there was 2 files and one of them was formatted wrong. But this one's across the street. It also was a renovation and it also has hardy lap siding installed.
That was a new construction.
That was new?
Correct.
All right.
Built in 2019.
Well, there was a house there when we did. I remember doing the addition. We did a good job putting it back.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, because there was a house, and then there's one. Somebody was doing some work on the house to the left of that one. So the request of the owner is to be able to do the lap siding just because of cost. Obviously, this is planning for retirement and for living there for the next 20 years and keeping our costs minimal. So, are there any questions?
Okay, well, I'll ask the board for a comment.
I guess I just feel that the novelty siding is the vernacular and that I'd prefer to see the house have the novelty siding. She has to take off, if she has wood rot, replace with new. You know, if it's properly primed and painted, it should hold up another 100 years, like novelty siding has been holding up in our neighborhood for an awfully long time, as you yourself said. I understand the appeal of the hardy board, but it just loses something in the translation. And I think it's sort of like the fence issue that we discussed last time. Just because someone else did it back in the 90s doesn't mean that we should continue that trend and lose what makes these houses so individual. That would be my opinion on it.
Yeah, Michelle?
Yeah, so I know that novelty siding with the typical, because what I'm seeing from the garage edition, it looks like it's just straight hardy board, which does not have the profile of novelty siding. Is that correct? Am I seeing that correctly? The pictures are a little tough to see.
No.
I mean, I know that you can purchase novelty siding with the profile in a hardy cement board.
And
I mean, is that something that you're open to doing on the addition and then leaving the existing structure is wood?
So I'm a contractor. I'm open to doing anything that my customer wants me to do, as long as it's to code and you know, I'll just have to warranty it and all that. So as far as a question for me, I'm open to doing that. So the hardy board siding that comes in, it's called an artisan style. It's about 6 times the cost of novelty siding. And
I think you meant
feasible
hardy flat board.
When it comes to the wood rot repair and all that, obviously there was a lot of it done when the city had it done 18, 19 years ago. There's still been a continued issue with the siding, whether it not being installed properly when the city had it done with the block grant, or but it also requires a lot more maintenance. I mean, that is a fact, you know, as far as the caulking, the painting, obviously prepping is a majority of what it is. We prime everything, you know, all 4 sides before we install it when we do novelty siding. But when you look at the longevity, you know, the fact is novelty siding on your older houses right now is all old growth pine. Old growth pine has a lot tighter wood grain. It's a lot more dense. A lot of times that old pine, we have to pre-drill to put nails through it because you can't drive nails through it. It's a great product. The reality is now pine is a farmed product that has wider grains. It's not as dense. It does not uphold nearly as much as an old growth pine. That's why we try to reuse, whatever we can. There was even discussions of taking some of the old siding and making some accent walls on the inside because it's beautiful. But the maintenance cost over the next 25 years, especially somebody whose outlook is planning for retirement and fixed income and not having an income anymore, there's a real concern, rightfully so, to what that is. And she loves the neighborhood. She doesn't want to move, but she wants to, and she wants to make it as easy to live in as she can, for her time. So.
If I could just say one more thing to that, I mean, there are other available homes. I mean, if she would rather purchase a new construction home, in the neighborhood, I mean, there are homes that they're building out of hardy board siding, being built currently in the neighborhood. But I think when we're looking at least in my opinion, this is a historical structure, and in the siding is that. Now, I'm not sure of the history of that particular building. I'm pretty familiar with the street. I know that the CRA did do that as a block project, but I would be surprised to think that the city, if they had rehabbed that building, considering that they used, for the majority of the model block project, they used just the hardy board lap siding. I mean, the siding on that structure looks like it would have been original, and they did some interior, some rehabilitation to it. Are you saying that so
there was quite a bit of repairs when they did? So on the inside, they've stripped out everything. They replaced all the electrical, plumbing, HVAC, sheetrock, insulation. They stripped it down inside. Now outside, there's a lot of repairs done to the existing. So there's a mixture, and you can see it.
But the existing novelty siding was original to the historic structure, correct?
Parts of it, not all of it. That's what I'm saying is there was walls that ended up having to be ripped off and replaced, and you can almost see it in the graining of the wood. You can tell some of the parts that are old because they have that thick millage of paint, and then you can tell some other areas that were replaced during the block grant, they don't have that same kind of look as that siding that's been painted multiple times.
But I mean, I know you brought up the case of financial hardship for the retired owner of this home. And what's interesting, though, to me, the cost to completely tear off all the existing, replace it with something new, is going to far exceed whatever cost that would be to just, repair wood every few years.
That's not necessarily true. So it's about $7,800 to remove it all and replace it with hardy siding. Okay. So if you think about, on average, $800 a year. Well, in 10 years, you've paid for that. So, I mean, if you look at that, it's not more cost effective if you're looking long term, as far as if you're going to have to continue to have maintenance on the product. So, and again, I don't necessarily. I don't have a hard opinion either way. I'm here representing my customer, and this is her desire. She's lived in the neighborhood for 20 years. She loves it. She loves her house. She loves the neighborhood. She loves being able to walk to the park right around the corner. I mean, she's vested in the neighborhood. Her goal is not to move or build a new house, because quite frankly, it might be less expensive to do that. She's spending the money because that's where she wants to be. She just is planning for future. So,
all right, I will put forward that the Secretary of the Interior guidelines makes a provision that if you are doing an addition and wish to distinguish the new work from the existing, that's one thing, such as using a hardy board instead of a novelty siding, but for continuity, perhaps at the same interval. However, the wholesale replacement of what the character of the original structure in the guidelines is absolutely to be resisted. So it would be an extremely unfortunate precedent to set, to have to approve the wholesale replacement of siding with a completely different character of siding. Any other comments?
And even if we allowed for the new addition to be in hardy board, like you said, to distinguish it, that then sets up a precedent for the future where it can be argued for new hardy board siding on the house instead of what's already there, because we allowed the addition to be in something new. So I don't think we should let that go.
I have a question though. I think when doing additions though, the additions are allowed to be differentiated from the new versus the old.
Yeah.
However, again, I mean, the new addition, and it seems like that could potentially be out of the hardy board, but that section, so it would be differentiated a bit. You still mimicking the novelty siding, but out of a cement board. Is that something that would appease the new owner? That way, at least then what she's putting on new is not, she wouldn't have trouble with that portion of her home. But yet, I think just from differentiating the old to the new, I think that case could potentially be made.
That would be an option that I'd have to discuss with the owner. I think it would be something that she would be interested in, and if that was something you guys were willing to approve. Now, what if we replace the entire house with a cementitious fiberboard that had the novelty profile? Because there's an artisan brand, it's just 6 times as much. I'm saying we're talking about options. I mean, that could be a potential option for her as well.
I'd have to say that I don't think that I'd be in favor of that.
It would most likely be vetoed.
I mean, unfortunately, when you live in a historic structure and you choose to live in a designated historic neighborhood, as I think all of us on the committee do, you're looking at novelty siding behind my head. It's part of the deal. And you have to take care with what you have. And I mean, because then the argument could be made, well, why can't I put in aluminum windows? Because then I'll never have to paint the windows. I mean, it's a slippery slope. And I think that our charge is to try to keep those things from happening. And, it's true that some of the structures around this house do have the plank siding and are clapboard hardy plank, but different circumstances, different construction eras. And I feel like the novelty siding just needs to stay on the original structure.
Yeah, my perception is that the choice you have before your client is to either go with a replica material of the existing throughout, or distinguish the addition from the existing, but not replace the wood siding with a flat hardy board.
Or any kind of hardy board on the original structure.
Yeah, I'm going to second the other Liz's comments by saying that I don't think that it is appropriate for us as a board to approve ripping off the original siding of a historic home. I empathize with the owner about wanting to have durability, but I think if the replacements on the original siding are done correctly, they will last. So I just second Liz in that I don't feel comfortable replacing the entire house because that fundamentally changes the character of the home.
Yeah, again, speaking to the Secretary of the Interior guidelines, the replacement of viable fabric is to be resisted. So to take off material all of the exterior siding to accommodate simple repair is not something that's recommended in a historic district.
So is the outlook, after listening, that you guys would be willing to do a cementitious fiberboard on the addition in the affected area, because they're going to have to pull off basically the back of the house. But that's only a small, and it's like 80 square feet. But anything that's torn off gets put back with cementitious fiberboard, but all of basically the east side, the west side, and the south side of the home would all be maintained. So they keep it as it is. So you're saying to differentiate what that is.
That I think is as close as you're going to get. You may wish to continue, have us continue this until you have agreement with your client.
I mean, if a motion was made to approve it so that the addition was able to have a cementitious fiberboard installed, that may get our client to where she's comfortable. If that's not, then we might ask for a second meeting to discuss further, in which that meeting I would have her on the Zoom call as well, so that we could come to whatever agreement.
I think if I'm hearing everyone else, what they're saying is just that, but then does the issue become whether the hardy board can be clapboard or needs to be mimic the novelty on the rest of the house?
I would say it should mimic the novelty on the rest of the house.
I would agree with that.
Absolutely.
So you may wish to get some numbers together and speak to your client in regard to that, rather than to be turned down, and to just simply have us continue this till next month.
I would prefer not to continue till next month, because we've been waiting for 3 months now to be heard. So I would prefer to come to an agreement, and if that's not agreeable, give us the opportunity in the motion to come back and discuss further. That would be my preference as the contract.
Well, we have the opportunity to vote it up or down or continue.
We can't vote it up with changes? Bill, we can't.
Oh, yeah. We can make provisions, but we're either coming forward with an acceptance, an approval with conditions, a denial, or continuance.
So from the conversation, I think the most beneficial for the circumstance would be if we could do an approval with conditions, and then put in, because I know there's some gray area when it comes to the county as far as coming back in front of a board. So if there could be a provision in there that says that if the terms are unacceptable to the client, then they have the ability to come back to the board to discuss further, as opposed to pushing off. Because I think, she's ready to get this done. So that might be a viable option for her. And if it's not, then obviously we'll come back. But which we would have to do anyway if it was approved and we wanted to do something different. But from the sounds of it, my recommendation to her would be to move forward with, as you said, differentiating the siding between the addition and the new.
Okay, may I hear a motion with conditions?
I'll make the motion. I don't have the HI number in front of me, if someone can fill that in from staff. But I would make the motion to approve the addition without removing original novelty siding from the original structure, and with utilizing hardy board or some ilk in the same profile as the novelty siding on the new addition. Does that work for everybody? I mean, that's what we're saying. I want to make sure that I'm saying that the right way.
Well, I would say the matching wood or matching cementitious material.
Okay. Okay. But giving you the option to use the cementitious material. It's a word of the day.
Yes, it is.
Cementitious material on the addition, but in a profile that matches as closely as possible the original novelty siding on the original structure.
Guys, I have the owner calling me right now. If you will,
okay.
Hold on one second. Yes, ma'am. Okay. So she called and said that she's willing to do the wood novelty siding to match. So
Okay.
On the addition?
On the addition.
Right.
Okay.
Wait.
Then that is the
So
motion.
she's willing to do the novelty siding on the addition.
Yes. So
The wood. Okay.
Okay,
Tell her
so-
I'll help her paint. If she helps me paint my house, I'll help her paint her house.
Okay, now,
You can see it on.
let's clean it up and reiterate the motion.
Okay, so the motion is to approve the, I don't have the motion, I don't have the number.
It's HP-20-15.
Thank you, Jason. To approve the remodel, with the exception that the original novelty siding will stay on the original structure and wood novelty siding to match will be on the new addition.
I'm gonna second that motion.
Thank you, Michael.
Good. All right.
No problem.
All in favor?
Roll call.
Roll call.
Oh, roll call. All right.
Okay. The roll call book for HP-20-15. Nicole Nesberg,
Approve.
Elizabeth Hawk,
Aye.
Kyra Lucas,
Aye.
Danielle Massey,
Aye.
Michelle Hazen,
Aye.
Michael Hill,
Aye.
Elizabeth Hausauer,
Aye.
Bill Warner.
Aye.
Motion passes 8-0.
It looks
Okay.
like a nice addition. It's going to look nice on the house. Looks like it's going to be nice.
definitely. Sounds
Can't
good.
wait to see it.
Good deal. Thank you, guys.
All right, Mr. Simmons. I think our next item of business, the photovoltaic being petition 20-00035.
All right, petition HP-20-35, Nolan Beal, ESD Solar, agent for Brandon Peterson, certificate of appropriateness to install a roof-mounted photovoltaic solar system on a single-family house located at 214 Northeast 5th Avenue. This building is a contributing structure to the Northeast Residential Historic District. All right, staff's going to pull up the presentation.
Hey, are you able to
Okay.
listen?
Mr. Chair,
Oh,
board
wow.
members. Okay, petition HP-20-35.
Okay, right. Fine.
The applicant is requesting approval of a 15 kilowatt solar voltaic system on the roof placed on multiple roof surfaces of the principal structure. The modules are the flush mount type to be installed in the same plane as the roof. The reason this petition is before the Historic Preservation Board for review is that the photovoltaic system is located on a contributing principal structure, and the system would be visible from the right-of-way on the primary roof facade elevation, as well as the other roof facade elevations. Okay, I'm trying to advance the. Hold on, just a moment. Okay. The property is highlighted in orange. There's about a 1/4 acre lot in an area with urban 2 zoning. This is a view of the front yard. It's a contributing structure built in 1922, according to the Florida Master Site File. Property is zoned urban 2, about a 1/4 acre. The house is about a little over 2,000 square feet in size. The property is on a corner lot with right-of-way frontage on Northwest 5th Avenue and Northwest 3rd Street. The house is about 1.5 stories, weatherboard covered bungalow style house that represents a typical Gainesville dwelling of the 1920s. It does appear on the Sanborn map of 1922. The house has a wood frame structural system, a brick chimney, a brick wall foundation, brick porch columns with brackets, and a gable roof with a shed dormer on the secondary roof structure. Here are other pictures showing, again, the corner at 5th Avenue and 3rd Street, and then on the right, a picture of the rear of the house as seen from 3rd Street. The next slide shows the proposed location for the panels. They are the rectangular groupings of the grouping of rectangles shown throughout the roof structure. As you can see, they basically placed on most of the roof angles of the house, front and back. Okay. And this is the sunlight analysis that the applicants provided. Sorry, it's not clear, but I have to blow it up to see it. The house there on the corner is the subject property, and the brighter yellows indicate where the sunshine is most prominent. Okay. So the system will be installed on a contributing principal structure. The system will be located in a location that does affect the primary roof facade elevation. The installation will not result in the permanent loss of significant character defining features of a historic resource, such as the existing roof lines or dormers. The installation would be reversible. The system will be flush to the roof or a low profile to the extent feasible. And the system will blend into the surrounding features of the historic resource. So the proposed solar panel installation does conform to the Secretary of Interior standards for rehabilitation, particularly standards 2 and 9. However, as shown on the location of the arrays, the location of the panels is not ideal from the standpoint of the city's land development code, which is why our recommendation to the board is that you hear the request for the solar array as proposed in the application for HP-20-35. With the Florida Solar Rights Act, there's, if the applicants feel that this is the only outlay or the only pattern that can be used to make the project feasible, then we have no real, I guess, recourse to deny them the proposal. We consulted with city legal staff. They informed us that we did, though, have to go through our process of review, and part of that process is bringing a project of this scale to the Historic Preservation Board for your review. So that's why we're here at this point. I'll try to answer the questions that you might have at this time.
Mr. Simmons, the question I have is that the north-facing slopes, I'm wondering how the array is going to be effective on basically facing north. The view to the left in what's before us, it shows that basically more than half of the array, well, okay, about a third of the array is actually facing north. So I'm wondering how that is really going to be that effective. All the south-facing elements, the east and west of the gable to the north, I suppose those are going to get their fair share, but those downslopes that face north, I have a hard time. That would be what, 10 panels are actually facing north.
13.
Not that, now the ones at the top of the illustration faced either east or west. The 10 panel array in the middle actually faced north. That's just a fact.
Aren't the ones in the middle on the shed dormer? Are we talking about two different, that's a shed dormer, isn't it?
No, the shed faces south.
Right,
That's the one in the middle there.
yeah,
And then you've got 9 arrays over the porch, a south-facing slope.
Yep.
And then to the left of the shed, south-facing slope.
Yep.
But in between is some 10 panels that face north. I just have a hard time imagining that they are really going to do much. Appears to be the opinion of the provider that they will.
no, the ones to the north are actually the least obtrusive. It's all the other ones that are unfortunately kind of front and center.
Yeah, 3/4 of the array is extremely conspicuous.
Hi, I guess this is probably a good time for me to jump in and introduce myself. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, great. I'm Nolan Beal. I'm one of the operations managers with ESD Solar. First of all, I apologize if I had some trouble with my Wi-Fi a few minutes ago. I had to kind of relocate to a better spot. So I hope I hadn't had any problems with that on the last presentation, but it dropped off right as it was coming up to be my turn. So thank you for bearing with me. This is the first time I've had to do any such formal presentation, to anyone to talk about where the system's being installed. I will agree with your observation. There are 10 panels for this array that are less than optimally placed for production purposes, but because of the offset that this system is going to require, even with those panels on the pitch of the roof that is facing north, having lower output than the rest of them, they are still required in order for us to achieve the highest offset possible, so that we can basically substitute this customer's generation and allow him to generate his own electricity to offset his consumption in his house, as was provided to us. And that's pretty standard across the industry. That's how you size a system. That's how you decide what the total wattage of the system is and how many panels you need, is you look at their average consumption over a 12-month period. And so that's what we have to work with, and that's how the size of the system was arrived at. Now, that being said, we always take into consideration things like how conspicuous the panels are and any customer desires that they may have in terms of where they would like the panels, whether it's the front of the house, the back of the house. But there are certain circumstances, and this is a prime example, where the best places to put the panels on the customer's roof are the most conspicuous, just in terms of where the best exposure is going to be. And I think that you see that in the presentation when you pull up the graphic that shows sort of the irradiation, is what we call that. And it's basically like an infrared scan of every different part of the roof. And the brighter colors are where that home gets sun exposure throughout the day and throughout the year. So it's, to be quite honest with you, this is not an ideal home to install solar on, but this is, it's a customer that wants to go solar. And if we can achieve 100% offset with the design that we've come up with, which we can, then, this customer has a right to install solar on his home. It has required us to use several different parts of his house that are not ideal, including the most optimal for output, which happen to be the most conspicuous facing the front of the house. So that's just kind of the overview of how we arrive at what size system we need and where we place the panels. But if anyone has any other questions, I'm happy to address any other issues that you might have. But that's sort of why we've done what we've done here.
My sense is,
I'm sorry?
My sense is that I have a mental picture of what these panels are going to look like. They'll be very conspicuous, as opposed to some of the newer array approaches that look more like shingle and all that. However, as technology emerges, I suspect they will ultimately be improved. I don't know that we really have, since we really are not talking about how to make them less conspicuous by rearrangement. I don't know that we really have an opportunity to approve or deny, but merely comment and recommend. My question was informational, but in fact, I'm looking at that roof from where I am right now, and so is Chairman Reeves. As I say, I have the impression that we have no opportunity to deny, but simply comment and recommend.
I have a question for staff. I hear what you're saying, Bill, and I agree. And this goes back, I think, to the last meeting where we also had a solar issue and we were just asking that one panel be relocated, and that was going to go back to the attorney. So Jason, what you're saying is that we can look at this but we can't really deny anyone the ability to do it. And I think all of us are in favor of solar, so don't get me wrong. But it's just unfortunate that in this case in particular, it's the whole roof and it's facing two sides of main streets and there's just no way to hide it. But my second question is, somewhere in the body of that stuff you sent, Jason, it said that they're also getting a building permit. What remodeling are they doing? And is that something that's already been before us before I joined, or is that coming before us? And does that affect the exterior of the house as well as the solar?
The building permit was for the installation of the solar
Of the
panel.
solar, okay. That wasn't clear to me. I thought it was an additional permit for some other work.
No, we caught that and said, oh, this is something that has to go to the
Okay.
board.
Okay. Well, I don't know if there's a way we can, again, I fear that if we just say sure, because we feel we don't have an option, then going forward, the next person might have the ability to do something that's more hidden, but because it costs them $1,000 less to do it a different way, our hands are now tied because we've blanketly approved this and or any other one. Does anyone, am I making sense what I'm trying to say?
No, by approving this particular array, we have looked at it. We have acknowledged that to achieve their objectives, there are not alternative arrangements that would simply be less conspicuous or visually damaging. So by approving this, I do not consider this a precedent that we will evaluate each solar array application as they come up. And again, without denying, we can certainly make recommendations that in order to approve.
Okay. That was my concern, again, that we start down a path that now we can't get back from.
No, we have the opportunity to identify what would be, in the case of the last one, there was obviously a lack of thought that went into that array. And, we made that known, and that certainly may come up again, and we will address it in the same way and say, no, that's, we'll make appropriate remarks and a recommendation if, without necessarily moving to deny. So if I may hear a motion to approve this particular, each of these is going to be unique and will be judged on its own merits. So if I may have a motion to that effect.
First, we do have an email from a neighbor that we need to read into record, and then we also need to open it up for public comment.
Proceed.
Okay. So I have an email here from Pam and Larry Laheef at 506 Northeast 5th Street. To board members and staff, my husband and I are residents of the Northeast Historic District. We are both supportive of solar panels in general, but have some concerns related to their installation on contributing structures in a historic district. I have been a member of another Florida City Historic Board for over 20 years, and our position was most influenced by the visibility from the street of any certificate of appropriateness request. If the solar panels were installed on the south side of the roof, where it would be very much visible from Northeast 5th Avenue and historic Roper Park, I feel that they would seriously compromise the historic character of this specific residence as well as that of the historic district generally. We would suggest that the owners be allowed to install such panels on the north side of the roof if that is what they are requesting, as long as the panels are not elevated or only minimally visible from 5th Avenue or 3rd Street. Thank you.
I would agree with that, except for what Jay said that the city attorney said, which is we don't have an option. Correct?
Correct.
No.
I have a question. So, there's all those solar farms everywhere. They're putting them just facing the sun on the ground. I mean, looking at this property, it seems like there's a pretty deep back lot. Is there a reason they can't harness power there?
No, there's very little yard area that is usable for that purpose. There's a pool behind the house with a pool enclosure.
Is there more space back there as well, or no?
No, not really. Practically speaking, no.
Bill, after you open this up for public comment, I will make a motion.
Okay. Is there anyone out there in Zoom land who would like to make a comment?
Sir, we don't have any callers on the line.
Thank you. Thank you. We will proceed to a motion.
All right, this is Nicole Nesberg. I would like to make a motion to approve petition HP 20-35 for the installation of these solar panels with staff recommendations.
Can I ask one more question? Is that possible? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Sure.
I have a question. I just, I'm hearing with the city attorney, but can we pull up the document again on what the, I think Jason put that up for us, that shows it talks about being on primary, prime locations and facades. I just would like to see that language again. Is that possible?
I think you had it.
Is it, or were you wanting the?
Yeah, that's the one.
Okay.
I guess I'm reading this and it's the third one there. The installation will not result in the permanent loss of significant character defining features of a historic resource.
Well, the key word there being permanent.
Permanent.
And these, in 10 years, these are going to be shot and the technology will be completely different. They're most likely to be stripped off and something much more effective and much less intrusive will likely replace them.
Okay. Well, and then looking at number 2, the system will be located in a location that does affect the primary roof facade elevation.
Mr. Chairman, I'm just stating that, that yes, this system is installed on a contributing principal structure. Yes, this system is located in a location that does affect the primary roof facade elevation. Because you see it right there on the corner. I'm just, these are like statements of fact if this is installed.
I guess I'm curious why, is this a local government mandate that we allow?
No, it's a state.
No, it's state. It's the state.
So the letter from the neighbor that was saying that she was on a historic preservation board and that district did not allow them on primary locations. I guess we don't know if that was in the state of Florida.
My understanding is that this is a statewide ordinance that the character the gentleman that spoke to us last meeting attempted to invoke is a state directive, rule, or whatever.
It's called the Florida Solar Rights Act, and it forbids any entity from prohibiting the installation of solar or renewable energy devices on any Florida building.
Right.
Also, we're unaware of the date that, the date she made that complaint, or, we don't have specifics from that email beyond what she stated.
No, she just states, I've been a member of another recorded city board for over 20 years.
I'm making pasta right now. You want pasta?
All right, trying to pull this back together here.
All right, I'm going to try this again. I'm going to suggest and make a motion for approval of petition HP 20-35.
Uniquely.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, all in favor? Roll call, please.
Okay, so the roll call vote. Elizabeth Hawk,
Aye.
Michael Hill,
Aye.
Elizabeth Hausauer,
I'm abstaining.
Kyra Lucas,
Aye.
Danielle Massey,
Aye.
Michelle Hazen,
Hello?
Thinking. I mean, I guess I'm just torn here because it sounds like it's against state law, but I think I'd like to abstain as well. I don't think it's a good precedent for the historic districts.
Hey, this is Andrew. Can I just jump in real quick?
Please.
Thank you. Yeah, I've been listening along, and I think I mean the discussion has been good, and obviously the board is in a tough spot with the state preemption. I did want to point out that there's not an ability for board members to abstain unless there's an actual conflict of interest and you filled out a Form 8B. Otherwise, vote it up, vote it down, but there's not an option not to vote.
Okay, then I vote no.
We are allowed to vote no to it though?
yes.
Yes, you can vote no.
So with that, Elizabeth Hausauer,
I'm a no vote.
Michelle Hazen,
Same, no.
Nicole Nesberg,
Approve.
Bill Warner,
I'm gonna acknowledge the state prerogative here, and I've got to look at it. I vote to approve.
motion passes 6-2.
I just have a process question at this point. Thank you all for your time and your consideration, but I'm assuming that moving forward in the permitting and planning process, I will just be in contact with Mr. Simmons to move forward with this project now that it has your approval.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Am I required for anything else?
No.
All right,
No.
thanks again for your time.
Yeah. So I guess my question is, if there's nothing we can do, then why are we even voting on these? It's just an exercise in futility and frustration if we can't do anything. No offense to you, Mr. Applicant. I love solar, don't get me wrong.
No, we do have the opportunity to comment on
Location.
location.
But we don't.
No, we don't, because
we don't.
Well,
because we had absolutely no sway over the person last month to even move one single panel out of the way.
I say, why are we voting? I agree. It shouldn't even be in front of us.
Because we don't have any hammer. I mean, we can say move them to the other side, and all they have to say was, well, this is the cheapest way to do it, and we have no ability to stop them.
Yeah.
Just like the guy last month invoked the Solar Power Act. Okay, great. So we have absolutely no.
Yeah,
from what I see, we have absolutely no power to have anybody modify anything.
Well, what's interesting is the state statute actually does say that entities may determine the specific location where solar collectors may be installed on the roof. So
we do have it.
I'm reading the state statute right now, but I don't know how the city attorney interpreted it.
So with that,
so maybe we can ask for clarification.
Yes,
yeah.
please.
Because it does seem kind of futile and a waste of our time and the applicant's time if we can't absolutely do anything about it. But if we can say, no, you can't put it on that, you have to move it here, then it's worth our time. We just need clarification because it seems conflicting to me from what I'm reading, but I'm not an attorney.
I'd like to speak to that too. I mean, because this house, I mean,
it's right there.
It's like right on the road.
It is highly visible on a public park. I mean, this is not going to make a lot of people super happy. I mean, is this the most inexpensive solar option out there? Is there not something more powerful that could have been put in other areas? I just don't know enough about solar to know if there would have been perhaps other options that would be available to that customer that would harness enough energy without having to put it on the primary facade. I mean, does anyone know the answer to that?
That's pretty much what the options are for the south side of the house. That's where the most light is, and that's pretty much what they're all saying. Except I'm surprised that they put it on the north side, like Bill was saying. It seems like a waste of the customer's money to me, but they're the professionals.
Well, they have it on every available bit of roof space practically. I mean, the whole thing is going to be covered, and it's visible from the street on all sides, both sides, the main side.
If you're going to do it, you put it on the south side if you have that space available. And if you have that available and you don't use it, it doesn't make sense to put the system up. So it would either be either you put the whole system up and use the whole south side of the roof, or you just don't do it because it just doesn't make sense with the amount of energy you'd be producing.
But if we could get clarification from the city attorney on that one point.
Yeah, so could we make a
because
request?
if we do have some power, then we can go to the next person and say, okay, it might cost you more, but if you want to do it, this is where you have to put it on. And it will work. This is what you need to do. But the way it stands now, we have it's just a lesson in futility.
Mr. Chair, can I make a suggestion?
Yes, please, President.
I think from what I'm hearing from the board, I think if the board would like us to perhaps do some research and to see, sort of other communities with solar, which at this point is pretty much every community in Florida with historic districts, and sort of see where the line is. If this is a concern to the board, I mean, obviously there is a potential for litigation if the board denies a solar permit and someone comes back and says, this has the effect of denial, or, in other words, limiting the output of a system. There's probably a line in there, and looking at the city's the solar code for historic districts, there may not be enough criteria in there for the board to be able to base a good decision if the decision is to either deny or, in other words, like substantially change the installation of a system on a roof. So we can, if you'd like, we can do a little bit of research and talk to some other communities. We can speak with the attorney's office as well. However, we did as well, and they, basically gave us the advice about, what we talked about tonight. But there is a fair amount of an infinite distance between a straight no and a no provided.
Yeah, thank you, Andy. Sorry about my clock. We do need to know if we have a prerogative here. Do we have any prerogatives here? This has been up a time or two over the years, and I think we're certainly going to be seeing more and more of them. In as much as we do not have a consulting engineer at our disposal as to saying, well, this system, while it's more expensive, will be a visually better remedy. We're just not in a position to do that. So we just simply need to know, are we just frustrating ourselves with having this come before us or not? Right now, I think we've only had the prerogative of urging, recommending, commenting, but not an opportunity to demand or deny.
I'd just like to say too, I would like that information before another one of these comes in front of us, because as a board, we're making everyone, if we're making decisions on that, we are saying that it's putting accountability on us as a board and board members to say, oh yeah, we approved that. And I mean, if we don't have a say in it, then it just shouldn't be coming in front of us. If it's the law and there's nothing that we can do, I mean, because in this case, I mean, I think every single time somebody could make the case that south facing, we want to put it here for it to be productive. And if the city doesn't want to give us any permission to make any sort of input on that, then fair enough. I mean, but I don't think it's worth all of us sitting through these. And, I certainly am not anti-solar and don't want to come off as that, but in the same sense, I mean, really are there better options out there? I mean, isn't the Tesla thing out yet with the cool shingles? I don't know.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, isn't that out? I mean,
it's expensive,
so,
but it's out.
You can't mandate that, right? Because it's a more expensive product. Is that right?
Right. I mean, generally solar, the state has preempted a lot of solar regulation to the state, not to the local governments. But I will say to Michelle's point, that may be the result of our research, is just a recommendation that the code is amended to make the process more streamlined and not have it come to the board if there can't be a different result than an approval.
Well, Andrew, it just seems like the city's attorney's office says we have no power, but everything I'm reading online says that the solar law does allow for appearance and design restrictions in historic districts. So I just need real clarification on what power we have here, and also what other cities are doing and how they're walking this line.
I agree.
That would have to be put into the code where it says you can't put a pink system up in our historic neighborhoods in Gainesville. It would have to be like established and written. It could be each property. Where solar is concerned, it's so individual to the particular property and where it's situated on the land that each system is its own intricate thing.
So unique, right?
Yeah, it appears to me that we have there may be an opportunity at some point here to have certain systems that are much less conspicuous than the 3-inch thick 5x6 or whatever, 3x6 panels that are out there. We may find ourselves able to require a visually approved system. We'd like to know if we have that prerogative. Okay. All right. Any other question or comment in regard to solar?
I just want to thank Andrew for offering to do that research for the board. I know staff is very busy, so I appreciate them taking that on.
Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you, guys.
All right. There are a number of staff approved items, and presumably everyone has studied those and does not have questions.
They're just re-roofings, right?
Largely. So it's an opportunity for board comment. Well, let's say, are there communications from staff?
The only items on that list were re-roofs, correct?
Right.
Correct.
Yeah, all re-roof,
Okay.
like one partial re-roof.
Okay.
Yeah. Are there any communications that the group needs to be aware of?
No, just that the next meeting will be, was it July 2nd? And I would believe that it will also be a virtual meeting.
Well,
tentatively scheduled as a virtual meeting. Let me say that.
Tentatively.
Yeah. Well, we're just getting good at it. So, all right. Are there board member comments?
Where's Sal?
And why is our next meeting on a Thursday?
It is?
Somebody said July 2nd, but July 2nd is probably not. I think you mean. Yeah, July 2nd is a.
Yeah, so that would be the
July 6th. That's why
It should be
July
7th.
7th.
7th. On the calendar before May, the 7th is the next first Tuesday.
Yep.
Yes, the 7th, hence the term tentatively.
Wow. Okay.
Okay, there.
Is it?
All right. Coming back to Michelle's question, I've been in communication with Sal.
Here he is.
Oh.
is here. Sal is watching. Hello, everybody.
Oh, there you are.
There he is.
All right. Welcome back, pal.
You're lurking in the shadows.
I am. You guys had really good conversation tonight. That was some good stuff.
Welcome back.
Thank you. It's good to be back.
Sal, could you make a couple of comments about reworking the form? You and I talked about digital signing in lieu of notarized signatures. Could you comment on that, please?
Sure. So one of the things I'm doing right now is kind of reviewing all of our forms and our procedures and all that kind of back office kind of stuff that we're doing. We did launch a new form starting Monday. The old application, COA application, was really outdated. So we have a new one, and I'll send that out to you guys to look at it. It is a PDF fillable form. They still have to send it in. It's not, we can't, we're not accepting them online yet. We are moving towards online, and maybe Andrew or Yvette can talk about that a little bit. But we are moving towards getting online applications in the near future.
Very good. Thank you. And welcome back.
Thank you.
You've been sorely missed.
We're very excited to have Sal back.
Yeah. Yeah, for those, Sal, I mean, not everybody here knows your background and association with the city of Gainesville. Could you share a little bit of that?
Sure. So I started as an intern with the city of Gainesville a number of years ago. Filled in as kind of interim historic preservation planner for about a little over a year back in I think it was 2015. Then I went to the city of Fernandina Beach, where I've been their preservation planner for almost 5 years now. And now I'm back in Gainesville. I've lived in Gainesville for almost 25 years. So Gainesville, even though I wasn't born here, really is home to me.
Okay. Thank
Bill,
you.
if you don't mind, can I add? I just wanted to
Sure.
thank the board. I think without the board's advocacy for adding the additional position to our department, Sal wouldn't be possible. So I just wanted to really thank the board for your continued advocacy and talking to decision makers at the city. We have a consummate professional in the role now, and that's primarily due to your pushing. So thank you.
All right.
And I'd also say get ready, because I think Sal has a lot of plans. So
Absolutely.
I do. So
also giving thank yous out. I think we definitely, Jason is like holding his head down, like, please don't, but we really need to give him a big thank you.
Yes.
I don't think I've ever worked with someone that just works as hard as he does and
Here.
stays in the building as long as he does. I've come in on weekends and he's here, and I'm like, why are you here? So I think we also need to give a big thank you to him.
Yes. Thank you for holding down the fort, Jason.
Yay.
Yeah, yay, Jason. Yes, we're all owe Jason a very great debt of gratitude. There was one more thing. Should have written it down. Okay, well, Chairman Reeves has been monitoring audio our meeting, so he is aware of what all's been said, and look forward to everybody's participation in the coming month. All right, thank you all. And we are adjourned.
No problem.